Okay, we are live. Well, we're not live, we're recording. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea.
Hi, and I'm Natalie. Hi, welcome to our series. Welcome to part 5 of a 6-video series talking about building the foundation for the Priestess initiation that I offer here in Edmonton, Alberta. And also some of the, in this building of the foundation is some of the concepts that we hold as the structure of what it is that we do together, the work that we do together.
Yeah. So we've talked about archetypes, we've talked about soul care, we've talked about sovereignty, and today we are talking about the masculine and feminine, yin and yang, however you like to talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's a really great, like the question that you asked is, what about the masculine? So here we've got all these conversations about the feminine and about women rising, and about standing in our power and women's empowerment, and all these like circles that are just kind of coming up out of the ashes, right? And permeating within our culture and our communities. Yeah. And so what about the masculine? What is going on in our communities that can help support the masculine as we rise? So I think we want to really frame that, and you had mentioned that before we started, is this concept of masculine, feminine energy, and how it seems a little bit binary, right? It seems like we're talking about men, women, that kind of thing. So we really want to frame it as it being non-gender related. So, the masculine, feminine energies exist within us.
Yeah.
They exist within us in our interaction with our environment and our culture and our community and our planet and our universe. All of these are kind of universal energies of like outward expression and inward expression. So that's really what we're talking about.
And masculine and feminine are kind of the best words that we have for that, and I think that maybe that doesn't even capture it anyways, right?
Yeah. I have a feeling that that's going to evolve too, as we're evolving into recognizing all genders and moving out of this binary kind of paradigm. I have a feeling that those words will evolve as well. Right. For now, until that evolution happens, we're going to kind of use them as part of our discussion here today. Yeah. And talking about what has happened to the masculine, and how can we support the masculine in bringing and restoring harmony in our culture. Yeah. And I think one of the disservices that have taken place, as much as I'm a true-hearted feminist in every ounce of my being, anything unjust towards women just starts to like boil inside. Or
people in general, right?
People in general, I could feel that injustice kind of in my bones. Yeah. And as much as that was needed in order to bring equality within genders, but that's not even there yet, right? We still have a ways to go. So the feminist movement kind of created this tidal wave that brought awareness to where inequality was happening. Very important, very needed. What happened to the masculine then during that era, and it's still happening today, is there was a lot of like condemnation that took place of anything that was masculine. And so I see around me in my communities where there's a lot of really conscious men, is they don't really know how to show up. Do I show up really strong in my power as a man, or is that going to be taken down somehow within our circles and our communities? Because that's taken place, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge is that when you're expressing the injustices or things that are not correct, that sometimes it's not really understood really what the real problem is, right? How can I show up? What am I supposed to say? How can I express myself without being overbearing or violent or whatever? And I think oftentimes our language is not really expressing exactly what the problem is, right? And it's toxic masculinity is within each of us. I have toxic masculinity towards myself, and it's not just men perpetrating on women. It's this overarching cultural force that is perpetrating on all of us and our planet, ourselves. Right? Yeah, and our planet. And so I think the anger is like the best it's the best force that we have to move so much crap, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So that toxic masculinity, I think, is a really important piece to consider here. Is how it's shown up is in the raping and pillaging of the planet, the taking more than we're giving. So that kind of like cycle has been stopped. It's been prevented from being really natural and really complete. Is I'm gonna take, but I'm also gonna give back. So I'm going to harvest these trees, but I'm also going to plant as many of them. That might be, that might be kind of like a healthy version of what that might look like. What healthier masculinity might look like. It also might look like me really nurturing this body and creating a structure within myself to have healthy practices and a healthy mindset, and continue to come back to what kind of discipline is important in me in order to stay in balance.
Right. Yeah. You can take it down from this like world cultural view and bring it down into ourselves. Right. And how can I create a healthy relationship with my own masculine? Right.
Exactly. Exactly. Because if we don't do that, then we're doing the same thing that we've done in our culture, is we're just going to relegate it to the basement. We're just going to say all of the masculinity is bad. And in reality, it is not bad. It is necessary. What would be really necessary right now, what is necessary as we move forward, is to have direction and structure and good, solid leadership. A good use of power that really empowers others around us. Good, clear communication. Like, these are all ways that we can take really healthy masculinity and we can create a world that sustains itself and societies that sustain themselves.
Yeah, I always like to think of it as a container, right? You have the container, the structure, and then within that, the feminine can flow and nourish the structure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what we can do then in order to really encourage the masculine to rise up is to continue to encourage that kind of like purpose and direction, mission in each other, like really inviting one another to step on our path and to work towards our own mission. I think that is a good, healthy way that we can show up for each other and harness the energy of the masculine to bring about change. Change is needed right now. Yeah. Like we can't deny that. We're at 11.5 hours here. This is right. This is it. We're at the finish line, and we have to decide now. We have to decide whether or not we're going to move healthily forward, in congruence, in integrity, with compassion and love for one another, or it'll be too late.
Yeah. I like the word inner activism. It's kind of, doesn't negate the fact that outer activism is also very much needed, but that we can kind of, if we don't know where to start, we can start with healing our relationship with ourselves, within ourselves, to the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I totally agree. And when we talk, within the mystery school, we talk to women about our interpersonal relationships. And one of the ways that we often take down the masculine is through like nagging and judgment and criticism. That's a typical way that we'll kind of like, no, it's not good enough. No. Here are my expectations. You need to meet them. And so in order to kind of undo the toxicity of that in our relationships is to start to look for the gifts in our partners, in our children, in our parents, in our friends, in our co-workers. Look for the gifts and encourage someone to step towards that mission. I think there's one culture in Africa, and I can't remember the name of it, but the gifts within that culture of the children are determined at a young age. They see at a young age what those children are really good at. And then the elders in the community are constantly like giving that to the child. This is what I see you're good at. This is what I see you're really talented at. I think that's one way that we can really encourage the masculine, is see that in one another. This is what I see you're good at.
Right. Like, yeah. Encourage that mastery. I like that you used the word mastery earlier in our conversation. Yeah, because it requires that commitment and discipline and forward movement. in order for that creativity to blossom.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's it. That's what we had to say about the rise of the masculine. I think it's vital to our health as a community and as a civilization. So I strongly encourage everyone, for all anyone in your life who's got a lot of masculine energy, really invite them to walk their purpose, to step on their path, and to have.
Beautiful. Yeah, we wanted to tell y'all about, I don't usually say y'all. We're having a live, right, on the 26th of July at 1:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Natalie is going to be answering any questions that people have about these topics. And you can send your questions. Please do send them in advance so that she has a little bit of time to kind of think about them. But it's going to be, you can send them to info@nataliejackson.com, and I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen here. And yeah, so if you have questions about these topics, if you have questions about other topics, about the Women Unveiled Priestess Initiation, that is going to be the 10-month immersive program. You don't have to stay on her land for 10 months.
That's not what it is.
You're there for 4 immersive 4-day experiences, and then in between there's material and circles and stuff like that, right? So overall it's 10 months. I was like, that might be a barrier for some people. But yeah, if you have questions about that experience, you can ask Natalie on the live as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and we've got a contest going too, so if you comment or share this video, then you'll get entered into a contest to win a session with me, a soul exploration session.
Right, yeah, kind of wrapping all of these topics that we've been talking about and directing them personally. Somebody can kind of explore that within themselves and find where they are wanting to move into some growth.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thanks again for watching our mini-series, and we have our last episode coming up. What's our last topic? Oh, sisterhood. Symbols of sisterhood. Yeah, and which you learn lots about in the Priestess Initiation. It's all about sisterhood, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so join us for that, and thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.